another Beauty Locker event where we promote health, beauty, and wellness. This format, this go around, it's going to be slightly different where we have a florist that is with us, and we also have our vendors, and it's going to be a great time.
Hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. This event is a wellness carousel. My name is Keisha, my apologies. I have the platform called Beauty Locker by KLB. KLB is me. I would like to have an annual health and beauty wellness event every August. So here we are again. This particular time, I wanted a little different twist than the last format, which was a panel of beauty professionals and a panel of health professionals. This time I thought it'd be a little more self-care fun if I got the opportunity to speak with a florist. And since I like to do things for our community, I wanted an African-American florist. So here we have Miss Alicia Monè Williams, who is the owner of Monè Opulence. You can find her at Monè Opulence on Instagram. Yep. And she'll introduce herself a little bit more in a few moments. But I know that women and florals both have things in common. We're delicate. We can be fragile, not all times, but we can be. So there's a lot of connectedness between women and beautiful floral arrangements. So Miss Alicia, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
For being here. I appreciate it. I reached out to her and she did not know me and still does not really know me. This is our first time seeing each other in person. But she was so excited to be here, and I'm excited that you all are here as well. So thank you. Please tell us a little bit about how becoming a florist unfolded in your life.
Well, the concept of becoming a florist was actually not something that I had dreamed up or felt like it was my purpose initially. It came to pass really during a time when all of us were kind of experiencing the downturn and the disappointment and the isolation with the COVID pandemic shutdown, and struggling myself with depression and purpose and what's next for my life. My therapist actually challenged me with looking into what do you do to take care of yourself, and gave me an assignment of not getting your hair done, your nails done, not purchasing something that makes you feel good, but how do you typically take care of yourself? So I started to think about something that I loved a lot. I loved giving to other people, and that became flowers. And flowers became important to me as a young girl. My father, when he passed away, I would spend a lot of time outside, a lot of time picking flowers, and a lot of time finding ways to memorialize him and keep his presence alive. And so for me, with others, giving flowers for birthdays or special occasions kind of became my thing. And I actually decided that, well, since I give flowers to everyone else, why don't I purchase some flowers for myself? And so that's kind of how it started, but it started a little bit from a challenging perspective for me, because when I went to go purchase flowers for myself, when I saw the price tag of a beautiful, beautiful, vibrant yellow arrangement that really spoke to me when I saw it, I looked at the $70 price tag and said to myself, wow, that's a little too much money. And so, since I was in a grocery store, I was in a Whole Foods at the time, I said, let me go buy groceries, because $70, I can buy food with that instead of buying myself something that I knew specifically was an assignment of what would you do to give, how do you love on yourself? And making that decision became, I'll do what's more functional and practical. I'll buy groceries instead of buying those flowers. Even though typically I had given flowers to so many people in my life and spent far more than that. From that perspective. And so I went around the store several times, and I circled back around the arrangement 2 or 3 times till I decided, you know what, I'm going to put all of this food back, and I'm just going to buy these flowers for myself. And I took the flowers, I went to the cashier said, oh my gosh, these flowers are so beautiful. And in that moment, I actually connected to the fact that, well, when I walked in, they were beautiful. When I walked in, I wanted them. But then I thought, price-wise, I've got something else to do with this money other than spend it on myself and spend it in this way. And that's kind of where it started for me, really realizing what I give to others and don't even attempt to even worry about what the price tag might be. But in a moment, why am I not worthy enough? Why am I not when I work hard enough, I should be able to buy whatever I choose. But making that decision in that moment, and when someone else said, wow, these are beautiful, I decided I wanted to own it for myself. But I sat with myself after that thinking, why did I ever even hesitate in the first place? So that's kind of how it started. Feeding that desire of something that I've loved from childhood, loved through the death and loss of my father that was always so personal to me. And then I started to explore, what can I really do with this on my own? How can I create something that is special and meaningful for me, instead of questioning whether or not I'm worthy enough to even do it in the first place.
And here we are. We get to look at these beautiful arrangements. The theme for the conversation is, sis, why won't, or what's stopping you from giving her flowers? And in that moment, the her was you. You were hesitant with even getting them for yourself.
Right.
Over time in this business of being a florist, I'm sure you've walked a journey with countless women.
Right.
Maybe conversation after conversation. What have you seen or heard as to what would stop or make a woman hesitate for giving someone her flowers? And I know that can have different, connotations too.
For me, when I look at my purpose in life, and that's being a servant, I feel God has positioned me in this life to serve and give to others. So a lot of times it's always about me and what I give to someone else, what I do to love on someone else, what I do to show up for someone else. And I will say, when I think back to even my childhood, when we look at as adults and as women, when we try to figure out what we deserve, what we're purposed for, what we're meant for, a lot of times if we go back to our roots and we go back to how we were raised, I was raised in a family that once my father passed away, in order to be seen, in order to be noticed, right, I had to do for others. When I'm dealing with a grieving family that was caught up in their own emotions, for me to feel connected to someone, it was always about me giving of myself to them to get seen, to know that I matter. And so when I even look at the concept of my business now, or even before that, when I struggled to buy myself flowers, it was really tied to the fact that I was raised always giving in order to make sure I matter to someone else. So when I look at, and the one thing that I love so much, in which a lot of people didn't know for me personally, as a child, sitting outside, picking flowers, making little mini arrangements that I didn't share with anyone else, because I was in a family that we don't talk about grief. We don't talk about what happens in the aftermath. So me as a little girl making floral arrangements for myself, keeping them, private and personal for myself, was my only way of not only expressing or trying to stay connected to him, but it was my way of, my feelings in this moment, or my need to receive something doesn't matter. And so I think that even in that moment when I was in that grocery store, it wasn't about the matter of money. I'd spend twice as much of that on my nails or getting my hair done or anything else. But it was that little inner child in me that after my father passed away, that I am only meant to give, and giving to myself was something that I wasn't really taught. And so in that moment, allowing it to come full circle, it was like really wanting to discover and go down the path as a woman that I've struggled with. The one thing I've loved so much, and the one thing that has kept me comforted and at peace after the passing of my father when I was 14 years old, were flowers. But in a moment when I know that I have the means to buy a whole living room full of flowers, I didn't feel like I was deserving of it, because I felt like because of my past, I'm only meant to give and not to give to myself.
That's pretty heavy. What are some of the health benefits? You said that you process these, or you help them pick out, choose the florals as they're grieving. What are some of the health benefits of flowers, plants, florals?
One of the things I think is important about bringing flowers into your space, whether you are purchasing and playing around with, one of the things I would highly encourage for any woman because I will say this, in my business, my number one client will be women, but it's women buying for someone else and not for themselves, or buying in the same vein that I've bought in, right? I've got to buy flowers to give to someone else and not necessarily buying for myself. One of the things I think that's so great and unique about flowers, one, each of these that I brought here today, I actually put the meaning of each of them on the bucket. And a lot of times when I am, let's say I'm doing an arrangement for a family that is experiencing the death of a loved one, or the birth of a new child, or they're moving away and starting a new career, a lot of times I like to understand the nature of the individual, what the purpose is, and I try to seek flowers that have and pull forth that meaning of new beginnings, new life, or celebrating the life of someone. And I think that if someone is looking to incorporate florals into their day-to-day life, into their home, really taking the time to think about what colors speak to me, what do these flowers mean, putting them in your office, arranging them however you choose. You do not have to be a floral designer. I have officially not ever gone to a floral design class, I will say that. It's just a gift that God has given me that I'm grateful for, but in the same sense, you can begin to go and look and identify with different florals that bring meaning and purpose and encourage you in your day-to-day life. So to me, the health benefits really, when you're struggling with anxiety or depression, when you're struggling with isolation, other things, just, I've seen so many people when they walk by, they light up when they see them and they smell amazing, but also that you could tie the meaning behind what these flowers represent, bring them into your space, choose this for yourself, right? And make it beautiful however you decide.
Treat yourself to something.
Treat yourself.
Do you have anything else that you want to share with us that I may have not asked already or tapped into, or anyone listening in? Is there anything that you would like to ask?
Anyone else?
No.
Well, I will just say this. This has been defined as my passion and purpose in a way that I didn't even realize that it would be. And I think that it's so important for us as women to find our truth, step into what we love, what we believe in, carve out a lane and a space for ourselves that have meaning with all that we deal with, you know, with family and jobs and everything else that we battle and struggle with, to just exist and survive today. I think it's important to tap into what feeds your soul. And this truly, truly feeds my soul. And it's a gift that if I didn't allow it to be birthed from really pain and loss and uncertainty, to define who I am, I wouldn't be able to give this blessing to so many other people. And so I look at my business as a blessing. I look at anytime I pull something together being very special and meaningful, as my gift to someone else. And I think it's just important to have that, to keep you sane, to keep you focused, to keep you guided along the path of life that God really has for you.
Well, thank you
for
being here. Thank you for your yes. I truly do appreciate it. You didn't have to. You don't know me from any other Instagrammer. So
thank you for having me.
I do appreciate your sacrifice of your Sunday afternoon.
Thank you.
And spending it with us. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. You're amazing. You are.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome.